Hello, it's Melinda from Scrapbooking Craft. Just coming on to do a art journal page. I'm working in my altered novel. So what I've actually done is glued 4 sheets of paper together in the novel, and I've removed every second page just to give it some expansion room. So I'm just applying some Delusions paints to the page. I haven't actually gessoed the page. I'm doing the paint straight on the page with some makeup sponges. I like how the text shows through with these pages, and I don't have to add the text. If I don't want the text showing on the pages, I just cover them up. So I like the Delusions paints. They're so bright and vibrant, and they go on very nicely, and you need next to nothing to actually, next to no paint to actually go a long way. So I'll see if I can find the colours and let you know what colours I'm using. This is my first voiceover, so please bear with me a moment. And I need the book on. I should have got organised first. I have used these paints a lot for classes, and they're quite gummed up on the top of the lid, so we'll see. So we'll use Bubblegum Pink, which is a really bright pink. We'll use the Aqua, which is, I think, vibrant turquoise. The yellow is Lemon Zest. And Fresh Lime is the light green that you see in the picture there. So as you can see, I'm actually making purple. So if the paints mix really well together when they're wet, but you can actually dry the layers in between, and then the paints will sit on top of each other. So I do a bit of both, just going in to dry some of the paint with the hairdryer. I'm still learning with these videos, and I haven't quite worked out how to take that few seconds of the drying out, but we are getting there. As I said, this is my first voiceover, so bear with me. So I'm using here a reverse heart stencil. This is one of the stencils that I design and sell on my website. I'll put a link in the description box to the product on my website. So it's a 6 by 6 inch or just under 6 by 6 inch stencil. I like the reverse heart stencil because the little lines that hold the hearts together almost disappear. You really can't see them from a distance. Which looks really nice. So it's actually the reverse heart stencil leaves the hearts in the original colour, and then it puts sort of in the background colour, which makes it look really nice. Actually really pleased with how this background turned out, and I should have left it the way it was, as you'll see coming up, but I do manage to finish the layout, and I'm very happy with the way the layout came together. So as you can see, my stencil is actually purple. I don't actually clean my stencils. I'm very naughty. I do clean them if I use text paste, which I'm not using today. But if it's paint, it just gets laid over the top. And a lot of these stencils do get used with my jelly plate as well. So they are well and truly caked in paint. That's okay. So what I was trying to do is, in each block of the colour, put the hearts over with a different colour, and I really love this technique. So just showing you a magazine picture of is it a boy or a girl? I'll say it's a person, it's hard to tell. So just cutting that out. This is actually what inspired me to do the page. The beautiful colours, and I don't even know what it was advertising in the magazine, but she's got colours all over her face, and or he or she, a bit hard to tell, and this is what inspired the whole layout. So I decided to knock back the colour a little, which I've seen other YouTubers do. This is just with some Liquitex gesso, but I think I used too much, or I should have watered the gesso down, because this is the part I didn't like, but I still worked with the layout. I actually knocked back too much of the colour, so I think I should have watered the gesso down before I applied it to the page. So then I decided to take some of it off with a baby wipe and try to sort of fix up my mistake. So I'm bringing a bit more of the colour back. Quite new to art journaling. I've been art journaling probably a couple of years, but not playing like consistently or full time, just dabbling here and there. I actually haven't taken any formal classes. I'm all self-taught. There's no real art journaling classes around my area. So I watch a lot of YouTube videos and pick up a lot of things and just have a play. So it's good to just play. So just showing you Mod Podge in matte. I prefer the matte one as to the gloss. So just fixing the magazine image down with some matte Mod Podge. I'm really enjoying working with magazine images at the moment, combining them with my scrapbooking. With my art journaling, not my scrapbooking. It's very late at night at the moment. So there was lots of text, or a bit of text, on the bottom of the picture with advertising, so I've just gone over that with the bubblegum pink dilution paint again, just to cover it up. And that was sort of the person's shirt, so I decided I wanted to make that a bit more colourful as well. So this layout, or this art journal page, probably took me about 2.5 hours all together. So here I've just flipped to a different page and just getting the excess paint out of the sponge, the makeup sponge. I find if you actually, after you finish painting, do this is just scrub out the excess paint out of the sponges. You don't really need to wash them, and you've just got a flash of a Tinkerbell drawing in my journal. I don't film everything that I do in my art journal, so when I finish or get close to finishing, I will do a flip through. So I'm sort of wanting to get, I'm sort of deciding what I want to do. I'm wanting to get some sort of movement in her hair, or an extension of her hair. So I'm sort of imagining where I want to draw before I commit to drawing. And I think this pen doesn't like it much. I think that's the big problem. So it takes to a bit of thicker pen. That pen's a bit funny. I do a lot of doodling and drawing in a sketchbook, and a lot of my finer pens I've actually need to retire because they don't work that well. I use them a lot. So this was supposed to be sort of movement in her hair, an extension of her hair. I did see this on someone else's channel that they did. Just trying to think. I think it was on Inky Quill's channel, another Australian art journaler slash scrapbooker on Let's Get Inky. She did she actually drew a picture of a girl and had all this flowing hair. So I was trying to achieve sort of the same sort of effect, but I'm not sure whether I did or not. But we persist on this layout, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. So just thickening up the lines. The pen I'm using is actually from Daiso, and it's one of their $2.80. Daiso is a $2.80 store here in Australia. They don't have any names on them, but they're just a black brush pen. I decided to try just picking up the pen and seeing in Chinese writing or Japanese writing, so I have no idea, but it's just a black brush pen. They seem to be permanent when you put water over them. So I had this great idea, so I dove into my flower box and decided to put some flowers and butterflies in her hair. So I procrastinate a lot over the flowers. I tend to do this a lot, even in my scrapbooking. I will move things around. I will not stick them down, but move them around and place them. So there's a fair bit of this, moving everything around, deciding where they're going. You'll see some frustrated hands soon, where I just not liking where it's going, can't decide. So you can sort of see on the edge of the screen a box. I actually have my flowers in a big separated box compartment, sort of by colour. So these are just all the ones left over from projects. Oh, excuse me for yawning. So I sort of wanted to cluster up in the top of her hair, and I wanted to layer some of them up. So I'm sort of playing around with that. And then I wanted to have some just floating on the butterflies and flowers floating around on the page, on the strands of her hair. So taking lots of them off, trying to position. I just couldn't get what I envisaged in my head out on the paper, which is something I do a lot of. I think I know what I want to do, but it turns out to be totally different at the end. So playing around with more of the flowers. So I sped this video up 3 times the amount just to, and now I cut a couple of flowers in half because I thought I'll have some half sticking out from looking as if they're sticking out from behind her. So I sped this video up 3 times just to make it about reasonable length to actually watch. Oh, I'm sorry for the yawning. I wasn't yawning until I sat down to do this video. You can see those frustrated hands of, I just can't get the right placement. I think it totally looks different to what I've got there in the end anyway, because I take them all off in a minute. But I just couldn't get the right look of what I wanted. So the paper flowers have been in my stash for a while. I used to sell them through my business. I don't actually sell the flowers anymore. I may do again in the future. And we imported these ones straight from Thailand. So I've decided the background needs a bit more, it's a bit plain. So I grab out a primer stamp, and I'm not sure whether I'm going to be able to find that stamp, tell you the name of it. I'll put in the description below. It's basically just a little 2-inch square stamp with text on it. And this one's a little roller stamp. I'm not sure who made this either. It came in a kit club that I subscribed to a couple of years ago, and it's basically just little flowers. So I decided the background needs a bit more texture. And now I'm going yawning again. I think next time I sit down and do a voiceover, I'll have to have a cup of water next to me. Or not do voiceovers I'm looking at the clock on my iPad, on my laptop, and it's obviously not correct, because it says it's 5 PM in the afternoon. Oh, it's midnight. All good people should be in bed. So the background looked a whole lot better with the text stamp and the little flower doily stamps in the background. So here I am fizzing around with the flowers again. I think I spent half the video fizzing around with these flowers. I like the position of the flowers just behind her shirt, so the half ones I've cut, and the ones up the top of her head are, I think, just about set. So I decided to bring a couple of those big butterflies in. The one thing I actually probably would change about this layout is, in a few minutes when I do stick the flowers on, I actually Mod Podge them down, which I sort of got a few minutes into and then decided that was not the best way to do it. I should have just stuck them with a bit of glue so they sat up from the page. Oh my god, yawning, really? So I probably regret Mod Podging them down because they do have a bit of dimension and they do have a bit of embossing to the flowers, so they were a bit of a pain to stick down to start with. But that's probably the only thing I'd change from the layout. So it had a bit of dimension. It sounded good at the time. Let's Mod Podge the flowers on. So I stick all the flowers down, happy with the placement. So using the matte Mod Podge means my pages don't get as sticky and it doesn't leave a glossy look. Matte Mod Podge is very expensive in Australia. So sometimes I also use watered down PVA glue, but I'm finding that's a bit glossy lately, so I decided to splurge on some Mod Podge. I believe I picked this one up 40% off, which was reasonable, which was good. So just layering up some of the flowers. All these flowers have actually been, they're hand dyed in Thailand. The manufacturer bought them off. So each of the flowers are hand dyed or hand tipped. So the grey ones you see up in the corner, if you get a packet of flowers, they're all, oh, really yawning. They're all slightly different because actually a lady or a man sits there and picks up one flower one by one and dips it in the dye, and the two-tone flowers, you can see they sit there with a paintbrush and dip them in the dye. I saw a YouTube video of it once and I'm going, oh my god, for the price we pay the flowers, it was just a slow process. So just trying to dry up the Mod Podge. Had to put quite a thick layer on because the flowers were a bit textured and the butterflies were a bit textured, had to get them stuck down. I was considering just sticking some of them down and having them, sort of the butterflies, flowing a bit on the page with their wings, but it would have looked funny because I stuck a few of the flowers down. Okay, seriously yawning. It's funny, I didn't feel tired at all before I sat down to do this. Joys of the end of the weekend. So the reason I also like the Delusions paints is you can actually write over them very well with pens. They don't have any gloss in the paints. A lot of the acrylic paints I find have a gloss in them, especially some of the cheaper ones. So I decided to bring the stencil back in with the turquoise. And I know YouTubers are going to complain at my yawning and probably say it's contagious. So I just wanted to add a bit more to her shirt. Her shirt was very stark pink and it needed some more pattern on it. So with the reverse hearts, I also have a couple other reverse stencils in my store. I have a reverse brick wall, a reverse circle, a large and a small circle. And I think that's it. So just drying that up again, and then I'll go in with some, so just bring that same brush marker back from Daiso and just sort of drawing around the hearts in a really sketchy fashion. I like getting a few of my art supplies from Daiso because they're only $2.80 here in Australia, as I've said, and if I wreck a pen for $2.80, I'm not quite phased about it. I'll wreck a pencil and chuck it in wet paint, but if I go and spend $6 or $7 from a different branded pen, then I don't like it at all. So this is just a Sharpie, I believe, that I'm bringing in. Is it a Sharpie? Looks like a Sharpie. So it's a bit hard to see on the screen that I'm editing on. It's quite small to, oh yes, that angle I can see it's just a permanent Sharpie. So trying to smudge it a bit like a Pick pen, but it's not smudging as well. But that's okay. We get there eventually. So thank you if you've watched all the way to the end of my video and enjoyed my first voiceover. And the last thing, I'm just adding off screen, I've just mixed up a bit of yellow paint and water and just adding some splatters to that. And I did splatter everything but the page. The splatters were not going where they were supposed to be going, so trying to use the tapping technique by tapping the paintbrush. Splatters do eventually get on the page in the bright yellow because she actually has splatters in her face in the picture. So it looks really nice to bring that element back into the rest of the page. I really do need to invest in a fan brush. Apparently they're the best when you're doing splatters. They work a bit better than a normal chunky paintbrush. But I do like the effect the splatters brought. So it's drying up the splatters because I do want to do a bit of pen work over the layout as well, just to bring it all together. It's funny, I said thank you for watching before and I forgot I had another little bit of video to come. This is the first video I've actually done in 3 parts, and I've just bought some editing software to be able to put them all together. So just going in with a white Signo gel pen that I picked up in Officeworks in Australia for around $5-ish, probably $5 a bit more, and just doing some highlighting with the white gel pen around the spirals and around the hearts. Just to bring a bit more white in because the white flowers were the only thing white on the layout, so I thought it needed just a few more white accents just to tie it in together. So I'm looking at the page and I decided it needed a border, so I just did a scallopy white border all around the edge, just not going over the top of the girl because I wanted the border to sort of be in the background, so I didn't actually bring it over the top of the magazine cutout that you can see down that bottom right, left hand side of the page. So then I decided the white border didn't stand out enough, so I get back out a black, different black brush pen from Daiso. This is actually one that has two ends, a brush end and like a smaller tip end, so just doodling in some black. And I really like how that just finished the page. It tied the black in with the black swirls in her hair and then with the black butterflies as well. So it added sort of a bit more dimension to the page. So you can sort of see the bit that I haven't done yet looks a bit flat, and then when I do add the black in the white scallops, it looks really nice. Ties the page in. Very excited that I can do proper editing now. I was playing around with my laptop while my daughter was filming video at the weekend, while Alexis was filming video, and I was getting quite excited. And she goes, "You get excited about the littlest things, Mummy." I can't wait to teach Alexis how to edit her own videos and do voiceovers, because she can be hilarious at some point, at some stages as well. So I think that would be quite funny if she does voiceovers to her videos. So just trying to do a bit of shading around the magazine collage on that side. I didn't have any, just using that Daiso pen again. I don't actually have a black pick pen at the moment. But I decided layout needs a title, so I pulled out some tiny word stickers. I'm sorry, some tiny letter stickers from EK Success. These have been in my stash for quite a while. So I'm not sure whether you'll be able to read it, but it says live life in full colour. And I have spelt colour the correct Australian way. I have included the U in it because that is the way we spell it. So these letters don't like to stick much, so I do go over them with some Mod Podge, and they decide to slip around, and you do need to Mod Podge these ones over the top because they will come off the painted surface. So as you can see, the letters are picking up and moving about and being very frustrating in getting them down. Just like to say thank you to all my new subscribers. My numbers have been ticking up slowly, which is fantastic. I'm planning on, now that I can do a bit more fancy editing, planning on bringing you a lot more videos, and my daughter's got a lot more planned videos as well. I do a lot of art journaling. I want to get back into my scrapbooking and project lifestyle scrapbooking. I don't do it as a weekly thing or a monthly thing. I just use the pocketed pages for my layouts, because I started that a couple of years ago and found that was really good, and still do some full layouts. But I haven't really scrapbooked in the last 3.5 years. I've sort of more done art journaling and taken a break from scrapbooking, but I do want to get back into it. I just haven't had the time, and I'm having far too much fun playing in my art journal. So finishing up the stickers, giving it a bit of a dry, and I think that's about the end of the layout. And I think that's about the end of my voice for tonight. So thank you for watching. If you're still watching, I know this is quite a lengthy video. I will try to take out some of the drying processes next time and get a bit more flashy with my editing, as they say. But I really enjoyed this layout. It did have an ugly stage, so just bringing up, showing you a bit more closer. What I will be able to do is put still photos at the end as well, with a bit more close-up detail. So, bye!